thinking about something. So when I was 29, I had gone through like the darkest time of my life, is kind of how it felt. It was just like bad thoughts, negative thoughts, looking down so much. And I had to try to get myself out of that. So I had convinced myself that before the end, in my lifetime, I'm going to see some massive change. And that we weren't going to stay in this terrible, sad, depressed, corrupt world. Something was going to change. But I forced myself to keep going. Felt better. I found myself out in these nature walks. And I was trying to get away from people just to get as far away. So didn't have any encounters with any other people. I just wanted to get in tune with nature. And something that helps you get out of that funk is to look up. Physically make yourself look up, even if it's just for a few seconds. Something that helps break that jargon in your brain that makes you not feel so great. And while I was on these nature walks, I started to really enjoy birds. I mean, I love birds. But anytime I talk to anybody about birds, I'm like, they're the best thing because they teach you to look up. And it's so like positive and just meant to help you if you're feeling down. And I also learned out there in the wild that you don't just see a bear, you don't just see an owl, you don't just see a fox. Those animals let you see them because they know you're there. Long before you see them, they know you're there. So if you see somebody that says, "Oh, I saw a bird," you say, "No, that bird let you see that bird." I think that's pretty much about all I was thinking with those rants. But it broke up the depression, the darkness, and now it's like I'm on the nature vibe. I can't shake Mother Nature. She's that's my core right there.
Long ago, before I was known by the name Joaquin, before I was just this great, before everything, I lived in paradise with a bitch I thought was the one for me. Sad to say, 5 years went by. Things ended terribly. I was presented the first time in my life where I couldn't control my emotions. I finally realized I had been through a cakewalk of life, and now it's time for me to actually put in the work. Now it's time for me to actually think, rewire my thoughts, structure myself. Everything that I had done up until that point, I felt like a mistake. Joaquin was born in this solace. Joaquin recognized what his path is. Joaquin saved me. Joaquin is within. What you see, the psycho, the player, the smooth dude. It didn't come from nowhere. That shit came from pain. A lot of the greatest lessons I learned through sacrifice. Really can't gain nothing without losing. Guess that's where I'm at now.
There was this moment, completely rearranged my perception of humanity. And I was playing in this punk band. We were called Dead Stock. And we were an aggressive, vegan, grindcore band. And our subject matter was confrontational. Our
confrontational. Our ideological base was meant to obstruct and confront. And we played this one show at my friend Christian's house. And we got on stage and we had this song about being vegan. And for the record, I was vegan for 8 years of my life, and I'm no longer vegan. I no longer follow that for many reasons, but most importantly because I understand the gut and the nutritional value of microbial life that comes with diets. And so I've moved on from that phase of my life, and that was a phase, and I will openly admit that that was a phase in my life. But at this show, before we played the song, we usually did some sort of monologue about veganism and how you should look into it. So instead of doing the monologue, I decided to say, fuck you if you're not vegan. And boy, did that raise some hell. People started confronting me on it, and some people were very nice. There was somebody named Black Metal Joe, and Black Metal Joe was very cool. He confronted me about it, and he was very cool about it. And he understood that I was just saying something shocking because I played in a punk band, and I fronted. I was the vocalist for a punk grindcore vegan band. And he understood that, and he understood my showmanship that I was representing, and the provocative nature and the ironic nature of my messaging. But some people didn't understand, and still to this day do not understand what my messaging was. Why did I say fuck you if you're not vegan? Why am I not vegan now? Here's the thing, I still believe fuck you if you're not vegan. I'm that fucking punk rock dude. I'm not gonna walk back anything I've ever said. And that was a life-defining, a life-changing moment in my experience, my human experience on this planet and in this society, that pushed me into a direction, pushed me into an understanding of what it means to be human. And we're all contradicting. We're all hypocrites. And we all lie to ourselves. And that's the truth. And it's unfortunate, but it's very true. It all started when I was 17. Fell into the wolves, the streets, if you will. My life's always been hard. No silver spoon, no handouts, no mommy and daddy buying me my first car, no asking mommy and daddy for money. You know, I had to get it straight out the mud, out the puddle. Constant abuse, mental abuse, homelessness, poverty. Both my lungs collapsed. I shouldn't even be alive. Went through ins and outs with, my family. Everyone turned their back on me.
motherfucking beast, if you will. I will not have a cage fight. Have the middleweight sit belt. I will not go viral worldwide. Send my message out to all countries and states. I will be, I am the motherfucking king. Well, I would have to say the moment my dad died on Christmas Day back in 2021. You know, he told me something before he passed away. I told him I lost myself. I'm lost, Dad. I don't know what I'm doing. I need help. And we were talking, but he told me to never give up finding myself. So, after he passed, me and him always talked about moving out of the state. It was a goal of me and his, and unfortunately, he didn't get to, but I wanted to make sure that I was able to for him. So, I moved out here to Muskegon, Michigan to be with my now ex. Cheated on me the whole 2.5 years, just made fun of my dead father. I accepted it. But you know what? I'm glad I did it to myself. Because the insanity to be great within myself is like all I want in my life. All I want is for better for others. All I want is to help others. And that's what my father wanted. And I couldn't do that being lazy. I couldn't do that, being laid up to a girl who's ungrateful, who I was trying to fix. And she just kept destroying me as I'm trying to fix her. And I just allowed it. The gym has been great. The gym is definitely a life changer. And I'll definitely be there.
It is 12212025, December 21st, 2025. I'm Justin, and these are my life-changing moments. In the last 38 years on Earth, I experienced these moments in the flesh, in the blood, but when I project it out vocally, I'm doing it so with the Christ consciousness. So first and foremost, all glory goes to the Most Highest, Jesus Christ, and His kingdom and eternal life. May He last for eternity, reign for eternity, and one day His kingdom will be upon us once again. Secondly, I want to thank Phil for giving me the platform to speak upon the experiences of my life that were life-changing to me. The first life-changing moment that happened to me was my mother's death from cancer back in my mid-20s. It was, I always tell people it was the worst day and the best day of my life. It was the worst day because I lost my mother, and the only woman that will probably ever truly love me is now gone out of my life. May God rest her soul. But it was the best day because it woke me up from the bullshit I was doing. I was going down the wrong path in life, the wrong trajectory in life. I was doing hard drugs, going to the strip clubs, going to the casinos, using cocaine, smoking cigarettes, dealing drugs. Like it was, I was on the wrong path of life. And for a while I blamed myself for my mother's death because I thought it was God's way of showing me to wake myself up and that I needed to change my ways. And if I don't change my ways, this is what would happen to me if I don't. So from that point on, after she passed, I changed my trajectory of life and became, a better version of myself for her. Because I know that's what she would have wanted. The second life-changing moment of my life, I have two because it's hard for me to I speak of now is giving me a brand new life spiritually. And it happened a month and a half ago. You know, I had no money in my bank account. I had no food in my house. The restaurant I was managing and running shut its doors down. The girls that I had in my life all left me. So I was completely alone, broke, hungry, no vehicle. And I remember going to my room and getting on my knees and crying out to God for help. And from that point on, a seed was planted and it's still growing to this day. And I always hark back on Phillmeeh and his slogan on his board on his studio, which was keep it simple, stupid. So I'll keep it simple, and you know, home is where the heart is. As corny as that sounds, it rings true. Home is where the heart is, and if home is where the heart is, you know, put your heart into Jesus, his kingdom, and everlasting life, eternal life. And that's where your heart is, that's where your home will be, and that's where all our home should be. So, until next time, may peace be with you. Take care of yourself. Take care of others. I'm Justin. I love ya. Peace.
So when it was around 2012, I was working at I had studied economics, and I was working at an asset management firm. And basically I was doing too many hours. I was getting paid a good salary, but like I had no time to do anything with my life. So at some point I was just like really tired, and I said, you know what, I'm just gonna quit this job and I'm gonna travel through the country. So that's what I did. I quit the job. I got tired of it, and I left. I got on a combi, which is like a Volkswagen, like a truck, not a truck, but like a van, right? And we went all the way to north of Brazil. It's called Rio Grande do Norte, and then we went down, basically playing through the beaches and stuff. And we didn't have any money, so we did it all just like with the money from the trip. And it was a really, really nice setup. We went down on the beaches, and we played in restaurants, and we played in clubs, and it was really amazing. And when I came back to Sao Paulo, I met Lucas, right? And I met, other people that were already here playing music. And we started this band, which is called Família da Música. We also, after we started the band, we went back to the country, right? We played in many cities in Brazil, in the interior, right? With not a lot of people. And that was amazing for me. That was awesome because I was going through work, right? And I was like really stressed. And then I decided to do like at 180 degrees completely. I said, you know what, I'm just gonna do music. I'm just gonna live off music. And also a thing that I did was I said, you know what, I'm just gonna eat when I am playing. Otherwise, I'm just not gonna eat. So I had to play basically at the time of every meal. So I was doing, I was playing in lunches, and I was playing dinners. And then I would eat twice a day. And I would wake up and I'd soon go to a restaurant somewhere to play, and I'd play there for food and for money. So basically I did 180 degrees in my life. That's why it's a life-changing story, because I was working too stressed in the capitalist way, right? And then I decided to play with the band and do other things. I'm sure I got less money, you know, it was like a very short cash time. But also like I was really happy. I got like skinnier, you know, like as in the fit, because I was carrying instruments and going to do things, and it was very active time. It was a very active time for me, and it was like a life-changing story because of this, because I was getting fat, I was getting stressed, and now like I live a completely different life.
Early 20s was a crazy time, right? I got certified to teach yoga. As an adult, I have been an adult for a few years, right? 18, you're an adult. Early 20s, you're really experiencing life. While I was really experiencing life for one of the first times, I had the hardest job I've ever had. I was pressed physically, emotionally, mentally. I was pressed all the ways. The job I had, I melted metal and worked with foundry men in a foundry, right? And I was less than par for the most of it. A lesson I thought I learned was that sometimes your best isn't good enough. It was a hard lesson to learn. But I had perseverance, I had integrity, which I still have. And that's what got me through. Sometimes your best isn't and won't be good enough. But as long as you keep trying and maintain those life skills, your best will be